What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I am your host, the big man on campus, Jeff Nadu. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. We are back here on a Thursday, another day, another dollar. We get back after it. NBA playoffs continue. 2 games tonight. Got a big weekend of hoops. We get closer and closer to the NBA Finals. I'm killing it in the playoffs. We have to keep that up today. Got another big day of picks. Got a lot to do. Let's jump right into it. As always, we are here every day, 12 Eastern, breaking down the NBA card. Picks, props, totals, whatever you want. I got you covered. Let's bring in our guest. A new guest today. I'm excited. I always like new guests on the show. I always like new blood. I always like new people because I'm trying to showcase the best the internet has to offer when it comes to basketball. It's our great friend, Kate Constable. Kate is doing her thing. I always love females in sports betting. We had Liv Moods on a couple of weeks ago. She did her thing, came on and wrapped it up about the NBA. Kate's going to do it today. She's the host and social media manager at a new company called Fixed Picks. We'll hear about that later. She's doing the NBA big. Kate, what's happening? Good to have you.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk hoops.
Agreed. There's nothing better than on a weekday at noon talking about basketball. I mean, we could be at real jobs, but
Yep.
we're just here talking basketball. So shout out to us. How have the playoffs been treating you? Have you enjoyed the NBA? What's been going on with your picks? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs have been actually treating me very well. The end of the regular season, I went on a cold streak, and it was not good. So I'm finally feeling like I'm back a little bit. Been hitting some props. Yesterday, the Nuggets took MPJ under, with the injury going on. Not quite sure how he's going to perform. And then a couple team totals. So that's kind of how I've been playing things so far. But so far, so good. And honestly, just fun games to watch. I mean, a couple blowouts like last night and whatnot. But overall, I mean, an exciting playoff series.
Yeah, very astute pick by you on Michael Porter. We talked about that yesterday on the show. Look, the problem, and we'll kind of get into the recap here, the problem that the Nuggets have, and I've kind of continued to hammer this home, in this series, they just are not as good as the Suns. It's pretty simple, okay? They don't have the big guns to run with Ayton, with Booker, with Chris Paul. I mean, comparing Paul and Booker to Campazzo and Rivers is like comparing Michael Phelps to some kid in a pool somewhere. It's not comparable. It just isn't. They're just on a different level. They're both really high-level players, and these two just are kind of outmatched. You don't have Jamal Murray. You don't have Gary Harris this year. You don't have Jeremy Grant. You don't have Plumlee. You didn't have Will Barton. Will Barton only comes back last night. You just don't have the guns. And the Michael Porter call was very astute by you. As we said, I mean, Michael Porter continues to battle this back injury. This is something that bothered him in high school, bothered him in college, and it's starting to creep back in. And he only plays 28 minutes last night. I was on the wrong side of a prop last night. I did have the Suns. I was on the wrong side. The only way I lose props is in blowouts, and I lost another one last night because of a blowout. Nikola Jokic over points, rebounds, falls 37, doesn't play in the fourth quarter. Just kind of rough. But great call by you on the prop. The Nuggets, you have to ask yourself, can they even win a game here? I mean, can they go back and salvage something in Denver? I'm not quite sure. I mean, the Suns just are on a different level right now to me. Defensively, they've been terrific. They seem to just kind of throw 2 or 3 guys at Jokic and say, well, someone else beat us. I think it's going to take a Herculean effort, and I just don't think they have the guns to do it.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. I mean, outside of Jokic, with Porter being partially injured, I don't know who they go to. Like you said, Campazzo's not getting it done. And then when they're not shooting well on the perimeter outside, they're not getting to the basket. So the Suns are just sagging back in the lane and allowing them to take these shots when they're going, what were they, 4 for 22 from 3 in the first half? Like, you'll let them have that all day. So the Nuggets, I mean, I don't know how you get past a team like the Suns with the roster they have, the depth that they have, if 1, you're not shooting the ball, and if 2, you're not making the adjustments to then attack the basket. And then you have the Suns who are sharing the ball. I mean, CP3 had, 15 assists last night? So they're getting everyone involved, where the Nuggets seem to be relying on Jokic. And sure, if he can put up 30 a game, great, but that's not gonna get you to the next round.
No, and I mean they're getting 35 from the bench seemingly every night. The starting five's been terrific. Defense has been good. They're doing a lot of swarming, kind of making other people beat them. I always love, I saw last night how many people bet, the Nuggets just because Jokic won the MVP and he's automatically going to play great. Look, other people need to play great. That's the problem. They don't have anyone else. I mean, one of their leading scorers last night was Will Barton, a guy that hasn't played in months. They just don't have much. I mean, Aaron Gordon's not giving you a ton. Porter's injured. This is where you miss Jamal Murray badly. I was surprised they even won one series, but the Blazers have their own issues. Welcome out there to people watching live. We always get a lot of people in the back end that watch it after the fact, whether it's in the afternoon or tonight. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining us. As always, we continue to build up the subscriber base here. Picks-wise, make sure you check it out. Hit the subscribe button. And also, go check out FanDuel. If you're in a qualifying state, there is no book better than FanDuel. They've got boosts. They've got same-game parlays. They've got everything you want. And don't forget, folks, Euro 2021 starts tomorrow. I've already put a play out for that. Euro is here. It's one of the best tournaments on earth if you like soccer. So make sure, whatever you're doing your betting, you're checking out FanDuel. All right. Let's get into it. Let's break some games down. Let's throw out some picks. Let's throw out some selections. We got one game in the West, one game in the East. The game in the East, I don't really know what to make of it. Is the wrong team favored here? Milwaukee laying 3.5, total 234.5. This line is telling you something, okay? It's pretty simple. If you can't look past stuff like this, you will not win in the NBA. It's pretty simple. I've been betting since I wore short pants. And for anyone that doesn't know what that means I was pretty young. 3.5 on a team that's down 0-2 against a team that looks immovable right now is very trappy if you take the team getting points. There is no viable reason the Nets should be a 3.5-point dog. They are, though. Let's just look at some things that the Bucks haven't done. They haven't made any shots. They've gotten absolutely punished by Kevin Durant. James Harden hasn't even played. You're thinking, how can anything go wrong? I think a lot of the times you have to look in the regular season just throwing out stats. And in the playoffs, you have to do more of what, kind of makes sense. What figures itself out here. There is a reason the Bucks are 3.5-point favorites. And the reason is because they're going to cover and they're going to win tonight. I think they get back one here at home. I don't know how much more they'll win. But, Kate, if you remember in that Nets-Celtics series, a lot of people, including myself, thought that would be a sweep. But there was one game where the Celtics played really well and found a way to steal one. I think they were 11-point dogs in that game. I will say here, when you look at the Bucks, I mean, they just have had two really bad games. Like, they just haven't played well. I thought they quit the other night. Did they get blown out? Yeah. Does it mean a lot to me? Yeah. I think it was gutless. But I also just think, like, once that happens, it just kind of happens, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. All in all, I thought game one, they were bad, but I thought they played pretty damn good in the fourth quarter, and I thought there was some things to root for there. They need to shoot better. They obviously need to make more shots. That's the way you beat teams, obviously. But I think defensively, they'll kind of figure some things out being at home here. I'm not playing the Nets. I'm not going to fall into this trap. I think a lot of people will. The Bucks are sharp. I'm playing and laying the 3.5 here. I think they win this game like 119, 112, something like that. I'm playing the Bucks here. What do you think?
I would agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout by the Bucks being at home. But I think being back at home, this is the first time they're back in their arena with almost a full capacity crowd. And then honestly, how do you come out 0-2 and your home court and come out flat? I mean, that you just, as an NBA player, as an NBA team, you can't have that happen. So I would agree. I like the Bucks -3, but I also, what I'm going to play here is either the first quarter or the first half. I haven't decided that because I think if the Bucks are down at halftime, this game's over. They're not coming back. I think the Nets close them out in the second half. So I'm going to play Bucks minus, I believe it's 2 first quarter or 2.5 at the half. I still have yet to make the decision, but one of the two of those, just because I think they need a hot start tonight in order to make this a game, in order to win and kind of get back into the series.
No, obviously, I think anytime you have a spot like this where it's a must-win, you obviously are first, home game here. You obviously expect them to come out with a little bit more fervor, a little bit more excitement, and they come out and have a great first half. I think that was something that I kind of looked at here. They are a way better home team. Keep in mind, regular season, Bucks are 28-10 at home. compared to 22 and 18 on the road. So obviously desperation is here. I guess my real issues is we saw this in game one in the Sixers series. Doc Rivers was outcoached probably more than I've ever seen someone be outcoached. Mike Budenholzer's been awful in these first two games.
And historically in the playoffs.
Yes, exactly. My concern is this kind of just something that, when we look at someone like Terry Stotts of Portland just isn't good in the playoffs. Thibodeau, same thing with the Knicks. But again, I don't need them to win this series. I just need them to win one game. And I think this is a viable spot to win that game. I kind of look at it and say, off a double-digit loss, home teams are generally not a great back if you actually look historically. But I think Giannis obviously has that kind of game one type of game here. Chris Middleton's not played real well. I think he kind of finds it, off a kind of a rough outing. I think Bryn Forbes is a big factor. Lopez is a big factor. They've got to find a way to figure it out with Kevin Durant. Obviously, with no James Harden, that helps. I think you can start to maybe make some changes, but they've got to be better tonight. I'll say this: if the Bucks lose, obviously, I think the series is probably already over. But and I've been kind of stubborn with the Bucks. I've also been stubborn with the Clippers. The Clippers have found a way to make me a buyer again. I've made some money recently with them. I'm going back to the well with the Bucks. I'm going to hope that they're not gutless completely tonight and get the job done. As I said, 119, 112, something like that. I think the Brooklyn Nets are really good, but this is more a play for me against what I think the betting public's going to do. And people are going to say the wrong team's favorite here. Well, there's a reason they're favorites here. And I think you kind of align. I think the first half, I'm concerned that I'm not concerned. I hope you do. I feel like I worry you'll probably win, and then they'll win here like on a buzzer beater or something or whatever. But let's just hope it's a 10-point game with 2 minutes to go and they find a way to close it out. Yeah. Someone says Big Man's on fire. Another 2-0 tonight. No, I was not 2-0 last night. I was 1-1. Let's make sure we're right. Thank you for giving me that credit, Tim, but just a little off.
So I'm going to tail everything you're saying here if you're on fire.
Well, I am doing pretty well. I've had a good playoffs, but as we know in this thing we're doing here, it can all switch very quickly. Mm-hmm. Nathan says, I find myself saying gutless a lot more. Well, that's one of my favorite words. Let me ask you, Kate, total here, 234.5. Obviously, both of these games have gone under the number. Mm-hmm. First game went way under. Second game obviously went way under because one team only scored 86. I will say, I think the over is probably worth maybe taking a shot tonight. I think it's probably one team pushes 120. One team probably gets into the mid 110s. But, when we look at these totals, you kind of assume, both these teams are quick. Both these teams are pretty efficient. But, we've got two unders here. Any thought on a total? Any idea there?
I like the over in this just because I don't think the Bucks have really hit their stride yet.
Exactly.
And so what we've seen in the last two games have been going under, but the Bucks haven't been playing like they usually play. They haven't been putting up their typical numbers. And I think they finally get back in stride tonight, being at home like we just talked about. And then also they're getting quality shots. I saw some report, I think The Athletic had it, that their shot chart, they're getting quality shots. They're just not hitting them. But at some point, those are going to go down. Middleton's going to start knocking things down. Drew Holiday's going to get going. I love Bryn Forbes at home. I think he plays great there. So I could see him going over his individual points prop. So I like the over in this a lot.
That's the great thing about the NBA. I mean, you always tempo is not a big thing to me. I've said that before. I think for me with college basketball, tempo is way more important. But in the NBA, you're always getting guys that are the best shot makers on earth. And offense is generally going to find its thing. Remember in that this is an interesting point. Remember in the Heat series for the Bucks, first game, Bucks were like 6 for 30 from three.
They were awful, yeah.
Then I think it was game 2 or game 3, they shot the lights out. I think they were like 17 for 31 or something. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for tonight.
Yeah, it can switch so quickly game to game. It doesn't mean one trend. If you're not shooting well one night, it's necessarily going to carry over to the next. Now that did happen for the Bucks, 2 games in a row. 3 games, I'm not sure. For sure.
And you mentioned Bryn Forbes, point total 10.5 tonight. I think you need, someone like him to kind of pick up the slack now that you don't have DiVincenzo. You need Connaughton, you need him, you need some of the ancillary pieces to find some success. You look at the last 5 games for Bryn Forbes, 10, 5, 22, 11, 22. So 10 or more in 4 or 5. So I think right now, I think now's the time to probably Bryn Forbes it up. He's going to get 25 minutes probably tonight. You need him to hit a couple of threes, but I'm going to just kind of stick with what I think makes sense here. I'm going to bet that the Bucks are not completely gutless, and they come out here with a good effort and try to salvage this series in some way. Hunter saying Middleton points might be a good one. Yeah, he's had some bad games recently. Yeah. He's another guy, if you remember. He hit that big shot in that Heat game. I think it was, what was it, the first game? I think he hit like a big jumper or whatever.
The last second shot.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You look at the last 2 games, 7 for 20, 6 for 23, and he's 3 for 13 from 3. Not great.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
But you had 3 days off. Hopefully that kind of does something to you here a little bit, and he gets back after it and jumps on the horse and has a big night. So that's what you're hoping for. So we're kind of in line here. You like the first half, maybe first quarter.
Yeah.
You want to get out of it at halftime, which I have a weird feeling I'm going to look at this and say, God, I should have just bet that. But I'm going to believe in it. I'm going to believe that the Bucks aren't gutless. All right, let's move on to the late game here. If you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. I'll get to them at the end. Jazz laying 3, total 223. If you like the Jazz on the money line, 152. Clippers give you back almost 130. Pretty good price in the Clippers. All right, let's look at game 1, okay? Because in game 1, I thought the Clippers did some pretty good things. I mean, not for nothing, they had a pretty big lead in the first half. Kawhi Leonard was hit with some foul trouble. Donovan Mitchell had 45 points, and they still only won by 3. Paul George didn't play well. But the problem we have here, Kate, is this is a norm for Paul George. You cannot trust Paul George ever. According to ESPN, Tuesday's game was the 10th postseason game where Paul George has shot 25% or worse. I mean,
I saw that stat. That's unbelievable.
That's shockingly bad.
Well, the Clippers brought him there to be a contender and win a championship. And he's put up 17 points in the playoffs. 17 points in a regular season game, maybe on a back-to-back, something like that. Fine, go for it. 17 points in the playoffs. You're not winning a championship if your number 2 guy is consistently in the teens.
And it's always in the playoffs. And it's annoying because the Clippers are like the team for me that, I'm not a lottery guy, but they remind me of like a lottery. Like you don't want to play it, but it's like, well, I guess I could. I mean, I have $5-10. I got to throw it, You don't want to, but you end up doing it. Like they're always the team, the Clippers, that I don't want to back, but and I've been stubborn, but I have had some success with them, particularly in the Mavericks series. I look at this game. I think Utah is the best crowd in the NBA. I believe that. I know they've had some pretty weird events there, some pretty bad events with some of their fans, but I think overall they're a really good crowd. Donovan Mitchell's so terrific. But I kind of revisit the same problem that I had the other night, and I don't know if I'm going to throw out a best bet on this game. I like the Clippers here. I do. I think, not for nothing, I think they played pretty well. I think defensively they're pretty strong. I don't know if the Jazz have an answer for Kawhi Leonard. And I'm just kind of hope that Paul George gives me something. I like the lineups with Reggie Jackson and Batum and Marcus Morris. They missed a lot of open shots late in the game that they had the opportunity to hit. No Mike Conley, I think for the Jazz, I'll continue to kind of just not be real interested in them. I like the Jazz, but I need the Jazz with a full complement of players. I don't want to see, Niang and guys that Joe Ingles have to take on a bigger role. You need Conley. You need everybody in there for me to really, really love the Jazz. And without him, probably, you know what? I'm going to play the Clippers here.
Are you sure you're just talking yourself into that right now?
I think I am because I liked it. I guess I'm always gun shy with the Clippers sometimes just because of just my history with them. But again, all in all, I don't know that the Jazz can particularly guard can guard Kawhi. I'm going to hope that Paul George plays well. This is a very good Clipper offense. We have to remember, very good three-point shooting team, very good and efficient offense, and I think defensively they're better than people think. I just think the problem that we have, I know Royce O'Neal's a great defender, but I just think Kawhi is an elite player, and it's hard to guard someone like him. Gobert's great, but I don't love him offensively. I'm going to hope that the Clippers even this one up, and I'll take 3 here. I thought, they had an opportunity to win for as bad as they played in the second half the other night. Anything you like here, Kate?
Well, so the Clippers with me, I mean, similar to you, I've gotten screwed on the Clippers so many times. I think about betting them. I decide not to bet them. They win. So I like the Jazz here. I think the Jazz deserve a little bit more respect than some people are giving them just because of the depth that their bench has. I mean, they've got guys up and down the road that can play. I mean, first and second finishers for Sixth Man of the Year. You've got the Defensive Player of the Year. They've dominated most teams and can really match up with anyone. And so I like them here. I've gotten screwed by the Clippers so many times, beating whatever team I'm taking, that it makes me nervous. But I'm going to go with Jazz plus 3. It just worries me with the Clippers and
Jazz minus 3. Sorry.
Jazz minus 3. Yes, I'm going to go Jazz minus 3. It worries me with the Clippers a little on how many different rotations that they put together in the last couple games. I mean,
it worked against the Mavericks, but
it did. And they found what worked. But to have to be switching that game to game and Ty Lue trying to figure out what's going to work and what's not night in and night out, that worries me a little. So I'm sticking with the Jazz here. I think Mitchell is going to have another big night. I also think, like you said, playing at home, no one wants to play at the Jazz. I mean, their fans are crazy. Their fans are finally believing again that they can win. And so that's a tough atmosphere to play in. So I'm taking Jazz minus 3 to go against you.
Yeah, look, I love. Mitchell's terrific. I mean, Clarkson's great. I just something tells me that again, I think that the Clippers had every opportunity even to win with as bad as I thought they played at times, even as good as I thought they played at times. I just don't. I like the Jazz a lot. I just don't like them without Conley. I think Conley's really good. I think he's a real big-time playmaker for them. And, can Mitchell go off for 32 in the second half again?
Probably not again.
I mean, yes, he can, but I don't think he will. Keep in mind, though, through 27 playoff games, he's averaging 28 a game. That's pretty incredible. That's high-end company. So, when you look at kind of other bets in this game, when you look at a total, I've kind of been under the belief that I thought these totals were pretty much kind of along the lines of where I put them. First game was right there. I mean, 221. I mean, basically right at the total. One or two things go the right way, finds whatever. So I think that the numbers are kind of right on point. I don't really have much on totals in this series. Just because I do think both defenses are better than people are giving them credit for. We know the Clippers very slow from a tempo standpoint. Jazz very variance-wise with the variance stuff with the threes and whether they make them or not. They shoot a lot of them. So I'm kind of staying away from totals. Do you just say F it and just bet Donovan Mitchell over points? I mean, is that the bet you just make at this point? Over 30.5 in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to. With these two teams, I've been going with props, and so Mitchell, his points over. I mean, you said he exploded for 32 in the second half. He can go off anytime. I kind of like Kawhi over 40 points, rebounds, and assists in this one. I mean, it's minus 20, so a value there isn't terrible, but not great. But he's averaging over 4 assists and just under 8 rebounds, and then add however many points he's going to get tonight to that. I think that's a pretty easy one for him to hit. He's been pretty efficient in these games throughout the playoffs, and he's kind of just a robot. I mean, nothing phases him. And so he's going to step up and be the leader. Obviously, again, he's the leader of that team. And I see him having another big game. I just don't think these moments really do anything to him, and he can just kind of get in the zone and go off.
The one thing from the Jazz that worries me, particularly without a guy like Conley, is, and I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell can do it. But when you look at Utah, 50.2% of their points, or 50 points that they get per game, come from the 3-point line, which is the highest in the NBA by a wide margin. They're very much a variance type of team. If they make the threes, that they're going to win. If they don't make them, they're not going to win. Clippers, pretty good 3-point defense. I'm just going to kind of hope that they don't have that type of game tonight without Conley to maybe create more. They don't have that. They don't have Mitchell go off for 45. I just think it kind of evens out, and Kawhi kind of has, if you're correct, he has a big game. I think that'll be enough. I just think that the rest of the team will contribute enough to get the job done here. So we're kind of going head to head. I'll take the 3 in my pocket here. Hopefully hope for a win and even this one up. A couple of things here. Jordan Clarkson steps up. Yeah, I mean, maybe you look at him, especially if you don't have Conley, which I don't think we're going to have him tonight.
Yeah.
I like Paul George over 7.5 rebounds. He's averaged 9 in the playoffs. Yeah, maybe you got to stay away from his points. I wouldn't be running to the window ever about Paul George over points in the playoffs ever.
No.
But yeah, rebounds, maybe you look somewhere else. That's probably a good idea. All right, best bets. Pretty simple tonight. These games to me were both pretty cut and dry as far as where I'm going with them, particularly in the first game. I'm going to lay it with the Bucks, -3.5. Something doesn't make sense there. Second game, I'm going to take the 3 with the Clippers. Got to have one on the road. Can't go home down 0-2. You're going to go first half, first quarter. What do you want to do? I'll give you.
I'm going to go first quarter Bucks.
Okay.
Make a decision right now. First quarter.
You're going right out of the gate. First quarter is
-2.
1.5. Well, yeah. -2, -110. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could do 1.5 -130. Who wants to do that?
No, we'll take -110.
Okay, so -2, first quarter. Yeah, I think it's a good one. You're gonna play one. You're gonna go against me with the Jazz.
I'm gonna go against you.
Okay.
See what you're made out of.
Enter at your own risk.
I know you've been on fire. That's probably the wrong move.
No, hey, listen. Maybe not tonight. Listen, I want to talk about Michael Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. The balls on this guy, Michael Malone.
Yeah.
After the game last night, this is a comment straight from Michael Malone. I felt like we quit tonight, which is something you never want to see. Let me ask you a question, Mike Malone. Weren't you the same guy that at the beginning of the fourth quarter, you're down 19, you pull all your players out? What if you go on an 8-0 run right out of the gate, like the Suns did? You cut it to 11, 12 with 9 minutes to go. You got a shot. What the hell did you take everybody out for? Now, obviously, I was pissed off because I had Jokic and I needed him in there. But if anybody quit, you set the tone that you quit, Michael. It's pretty simple. It's the same kind of game you had against Portland that one game where your team just quit. Your team quit because you quit. What's that all about?
I mean, at halftime, okay, so they're down 10 at half. They've shot 4 for 22, 6 turnovers in the second half. You're in that ball game if those things don't happen or if you clean them up in the second half.
It's random.
Same. I mean, I don't know. In his defense, maybe the flow of the game, the guys just weren't getting into it, and he just, coach just kind of knows once.
Well, then don't throw them under the bus and say they quit.
Then you don't do that. Yes. Then you back your team. Bad game tonight. Obviously, we weren't in it all collectively, mentally, physically. Just not our game tonight. We move on, but not necessarily to go throw your team under the bus. Wow. When you're right, when you're taking out your starters.
Yeah, I was really irritated with that. And again, I had Jokic, so I needed him in there. But I don't know, just kind of.
The Nuggets did look defeated early in the second half. They had their heads down. They looked like they had no shot of getting back into this game or no will to even want to get back in the game. It was weird. It was odd to watch, and I just kept kind of thinking to myself, like, this is the playoffs, and this is the body language that you're getting from these players early in the second half. That's not a great thing.
I mean, we saw it, like I said, in that one game with Portland. I mean, They were just dreadful. I mean, it was really hard to watch. Someone's asking about, do I have NHL picks tonight? By the way, I don't know if you know this, Kate. I don't know anything about the NHL, but I do know that I hit bets in the NHL. I hit another one last night. Brad Marchand, anytime goal scorer, winner. Do I have one tonight? No, I don't. No, I don't. I just have to eye it up and say, oh, I like that.
That's the kind of NHL better I am too.
Yeah, I NHL I don't even really follow. I just had fun one night and I hit something and I just kind of run with it. But I don't know. Maybe Nathan McKinnon over half a goal, plus 168, but he hasn't scored in a while. I'm going to pass on this one tonight. I'll take my profit from Marchand and the other stuff and run.
Just looking at the slate, there's only one game tonight.
Correct.
Avs, Knights. I would take the over 5.5 in this one. I have no reason to back that. I have no stats to go off of. That's a gut feeling for my hockey pick for the night.
Well, keep in mind, let's look through the scores here. 7-1, that one over. 3-2, so almost got there. 3-2, 5-1, 3-2. So they're right on the doorstep. Here's what I'm gonna say, Kate. Maybe we just avoid the hockey for tonight.
Yeah, probably best.
Have fun. Sam Calmer says March Assault tonight. Okay, well maybe I'll tell that. All right, short and sweet, very simple. That's that, as they say. Kate, do me a favor. Tell me what you have going on. Tell me about Fixed Picks. What do you got going on? What are you doing over there?
Yeah, so Fixed Picks is a fairly new company. We're a startup. Began about a year ago or so. First, we started as an AI model, so predicting NBA games, and we're transitioning now to creating a bet tracking app where all of your bets can be synced in one place with any sportsbook you're using, not just a single one. So it'll track all your stats, kind of give you trends, receive where you're doing well, where you're not doing well, all of those things. So we're in the process of getting that bet tracking app started and created. It'll hopefully be ready for NFL season, and we'll be adding NFL to that. So we have actually a wait list on fixedpicks.com where you can go and sign up to be one of the first to get on that wait list for when that app is released. But it's a lot of cool stuff. It's a fun group that we work with, and just a lot of people who love sports and love betting and love making money.
A lot of new stuff out there. Make sure you're going and checking that out. There's all sorts of resources now for bettors out there. And they pop up all the time. But finding good people that have good companies and are with good companies, that's the goal. So check out Fixed Picks. I put the Twitter account in the description in the chat. Check out Kate on Twitter at Kate Constable. I'll put that in as well. Make sure you go follow her. She's young. She's up and coming. She's doing her thing. Graduated from where? Northwestern?
Northwestern. Iowa and Northwestern. Got undergrad at Iowa, got my master's at Northwestern. So hitting all the Big Ten schools.
Big Ten city. We got the Hawkeyes and we got the Wildcats.
Yeah.
Kirk Ferentz and Fran McCaffrey, one of the worst coaches in the country, and Pat Fitzgerald and Chris Collins.
Fitz is one of the best coaches in the country. McCaffrey is one of the craziest coaches in the country.
Let's just say it is. He's the worst. I hate Fran McCaffrey. He's actually from my area. He's a lunatic. I just don't think he's a good coach. I don't know why they hold on to him, but they do. But it's all in all, two good programs. Always been an Iowa guy most of the time. Though I thought the preseason top 5 ranking last year was ridiculous, and they let me hear about it. They didn't like my opinions on that. But Northwestern, always a very solid blue-collar school. Very good journalism school, I believe.
Yes, Medill that's the program I went through, and it was fantastic. A lot of great professors, and learned a lot there. It was awesome.
Good. And you're from Minnesota, right?
Yes, originally from Minnesota.
Very
So I've covered a lot of the Midwest. In Chicago now.
Wait, say Minnesota again.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I get the accent when I talk about the Gophers. You get the long O's. Yep.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
You guys say soda.
Yes. Soda, we go on the lake a lot. We boat, we do all those things.
Do you ice fish?
I don't, but that is huge. Like, that was one of the things, high school, everyone would go out to their parents' little ice houses. I
know like Minnesota is like somewhat remote, but like there are like big cities and stuff. So
I lived 20 minutes outside Minneapolis. I had a 700 person graduating class. Like, Minnesota is not as Minnesota as people think it is.
I think a lot of people just think it's like Saskatchewan or something.
Yeah.
It's like the middle of nowhere.
No.
It's remote. There's all sorts of remote places in each state, though. Go check out Kate. Check out what she's doing. Up and coming, doing her thing, trying to make her way. Everybody here, we're all trying to make our way. Try to make connections, you network, you do your thing, and you try to, see what you can do. Here's what I want all of you to do. Also, I have another project I'm working on. I'm killing it. It's called The Sit Down. If you enjoy the mafia, mob culture, mob movies, you like Goodfellas, you like A Bronx Tale, you like any of that stuff, we talk about that every week. Go check it out, The Sit Down. I'm killing it right now with that show. We just did a show yesterday, very good. A guy that really is interesting. We got Al Capone coming up. We got all sorts of things that I'm working on. That show I'm very proud of. I'm happy with it. So if you enjoy mob culture, mob history, go check out The Sit Down anywhere you get your podcast. 2 plays for me today, 2 plays for Kate. Let's do it. Let's rock. We're here every day, noon Eastern, here on PicksWise, presented by FanDuel, breaking down the NBA card. We're going to have Kate here every Thursday. She'll be back next week. Kate, looking forward to that. Good luck in the NBA tonight. Hopefully you're wrong on the Jazz.
Well, I hope you're wrong as well, but we will wait and see.
Well, maybe we can count our money. We can count our money though on the Bucks. Hopefully, let's just. The key word here is gutless. Let's hope they aren't tonight.
And I'm actually heading up to that game in Milwaukee, so I hope it's a good game.
You are.
I don't want to watch the blowout.
Good. So. Well, I that would be great. I feel like that's a good. Do they have fans there? Full fans?
They do.
I think all arenas now do. So that's
full
good.
Capacity. I'm not quite sure what the capacity, but it's greater than what it has been in the past. It's 80, 60, 80, 90. I'm not sure, but
that has me thinking. So this morning, I went to this really famous buffet around here. I haven't been there in a while. It's like an Amish spot, super good. It's like world famous. And I walked in with 2 of my friends, and nobody had masks on. I'm just like, whoa, it's normal again.
Back open.
Loving it.
Things are getting there. Which is great to see.
Yes, amen to that. All right, Kate, good talking to you. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for coming on. Thank you all for watching. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. Ian Cameron, a regular Friday guest, will join us. We got good guys over the weekend as well. We continue to get closer to the NBA Finals. I'm here till the end of it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.